EV versus petrol. Will everybody drive an EV soon? There are many climate and air quality reasons to shop for an electric vehicle. However, is it cheaper to drive? The misleadingly tricky question has befuddled automobile shoppers for years, and with intelligent reason. Heaps will confirm your EV's worth tag, from fuel prices to maintenance, and whether or not you'll save cash within the long-standing time. Let's sort it out. Sticker costs for electric versus petrol cars. The average sticker worth of a brand new electric in 2021 was $10,000, above the trade average for each gas-powered and electric vehicle. However, the EV market is growing pace, and this value margin is anticipated to shrink significantly within the coming years as manufacturers produce more cost-effective models and battery technology. The most costly part of an EV improves. You can imagine a number of that value by using tax incentives, which may have thousands off an EV's tag. The federal EV decrease is up to $7,500 for brand-spanking-new vehicles. Many countries supply their tax incentives too. Thus, take the time to look for what's on the market. Be sure to additionally account for a possible upgrade to your EV charging system. Charging from a standard 120-volt outlet for 8 miles can add 32 miles of vary, which is often for daily driving desires. If you would like to be able to frequent and/or longer journeys, putting in a pair of 240-volt outlets in your garage will permit you to feature 200 miles or an additional night long. That installation can value you about $2,000. However, some states and native utility corporations supply incentives to offset it. Once you've got an inspiration of what incentives you qualify for, you ought to be able to compare automobile costs. Cost of electricity versus petrol. Here's where EV owners win out. Going electrical suggests that you get to skip expensive visits to the pump, which is one of the largest attractions for creating the switch. A 2018 study by the University of Michigan's Transportation Analysis Institute found that the typical price to fuel an electric automobile was $485 a year, compared to $1,117 for a gas-powered vehicle. A 2020 Consumer Reports study equally showed that EV drivers tend to pay 60% less every year on fuel prices compared to drivers of gas-powered cars. But these saving calculations aren't identical for everybody. Here's wherever it will get a bit difficult. For starters, electric vehicles direct efficiency. That is, they will prolong the identical quantity of electricity. For an EV, potency is measured by what kilowatt-hours, kWh, of electricity it will consume per 100 miles, similar to a gas-powered car's miles per gallon stat. A lower kilowatt-hour per 100 miles rate is healthier. The 2022 Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive leads the pack in potency, with 25 kilowatt-hour per 100 miles. However, the additional budget-friendly 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EUV is comparable, with a 29 kilowatt-hour per 100 miles rating. Therefore, make sure to think about this once comparison searching. Charging your automotive reception also will cause your electricity bill to rise. However, what proportion can rely upon factors like once you charge it and wherever you reside. Electricity prices, like gas costs, will vary considerably by region. Taking each of those under consideration, a 2020 study busted down the lifespan fuel prices of powered electric vehicles versus combustion engine cars state by state. As an example, EV owners in Washington state will save the maximum amount of $14,480 over the lifetime of their vehicle, the highest margin in the country. On the opposite finish of the spectrum is Hawaii, wherever going electrical might ultimately price $2,494 additional over 15 years. To get a rough estimate of your charging prices, multiply an EV's kilowatt-hour, kWh, by 100, miles rate by your electricity rate, measured in cents per kilowatt-hour, which you'll notice on your monthly bill. It may provide you with the electricity prices per 100 miles driven. When calculating within the variety of miles you usually drive in an exceedingly month, you'll be able to see what proportion your invoice could go up. Remember that charging your automotive long, once electricity demand and worth drop, will prevent 30% on that charge. Also note that public charging stations tend to be costlier than charging reception. If your bank is entirely on these stations, which supply quicker, higher voltage charging, your supply prices might considerably increase. After you work out, however, these factors apply to you and your most popular EV model. Compare your final electricity price estimate to what you usually pay for petrol. Electric vehicles have a fine leg up on maintenance prices. Electricity without spark plugs to exchange or oil to alter cars still needs some essential maintenance, like service checks and tire rotations. However, electric vehicles usually cost half of the maximum amount to take care of and repair as gas-powered cars. Now calculate that all-important number, whether an electrical automobile is cheaper over the vehicle's lifetime. You can comprehend your savings estimate by conniving the direct prices of your specific model, minus tax rebates, and then in-progress prices. Those should account for your model's potency, what proportion you propose to drive, regional electricity prices, charging habits, and maintenance prices annually. Then compare those to the gas-powered alternative. Of course, if you would like to skip the mathematics, this 2020 Clients Report study could facilitate. It compared 9 of the foremost fashionable EVs on the market with 3 comparable gas-powered vehicles, and the famous, top-rated and most efficient in their category. The results were precise. The period possession prices for all 9 electric cars were many thousands of bucks below all comparable ICE, internal combustion engine, vehicles prices, with most EVs providing savings of between $6,000 and $10,000. And a newer analysis found it's already less costly to possess an electric vehicle, EV, than the same petrol model. You'll bank on saving across the lifetime of your electric vehicle. That's not too shabby, considering you'll even be economical with the climate thousands of pounds of carbon pollution over the car's life, in conjunction with alternative pollutants that cause of air pollution, lower native air quality, and hurt public health. Though gas-powered vehicles are worse for the surroundings, they still survive the driving range compared to powered vehicles. Automobile corporations are within the method of planning stronger, longer-lasting batteries to combat this. The report asserts that the government's global climate change policy is an excellent incentive for drivers to travel electrically. For instance, Norway, the leading country in EVs per person, has modified its infrastructure to accommodate and encourage an entire shift towards EVs by 2025. Tesla even launched its pilot for supercharging station access for non-Tesla EV within the Northern Land. With its exaggerating charging station accessibility and alternative incentives like toll exemptions and parking value reductions, Norway is showing the globe a way to go electric. Right now, around 30% of the electricity within the US comes from coal. Globally, roughly 37% of the world's electricity comes from coal power plants. Those numbers are trending down over the past many years, though. On a world basis, coal demand is down from its peak in 2014 as countries around the globe have begun to implement initiatives to curb the assembly of greenhouse gases. And automakers build up production for ever more EVs. Demand on the ability grid from EVs can grow exponentially. According to best estimates, growth in EV adoption might drive a 300-fold increase in electricity consumption by 2040 compared to 2016. The present grid may have to be compelled to evolve considerably to accommodate that growth, driving a blitz of recent innovation in wind and solar energy, which can ultimately shift world reliance on coal toward clean energy alternatives. But even that transition, whereas definitely cleaner, isn't while not having an environmental, economic, and legislative impact, no matter what kind it takes. The expansion in demand for EVs can spur a surge in demand for alternative organic components employed in EVs, and therefore the clean energy production method, notably lithium, cobalt, and rare earth, comes with its own set of environmental, economic, and geopolitical challenges. Despite all the things explained in the video, which one would you prefer? Electric or still petrol? Let us know in the comments section. Having said that, we have reached the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If yes, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up. And it's high time for you to subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on to get all the updates on our works. See you soon. Until then, peace.